Hello and welcome to your rune reading. My name is Daniel Cuming. Now this rune reading is going to be focused around the new moon of July 2021. Now it doesn't matter if you found this video later, way past that date, there's still probably a message in here for you as you will pick one of 3 sets of 3 runes. And what I'm going to do as well is just add on an archetype card, and that will just elaborate what you kind of need to embody moving forward in order to make the most out of the situation and the runic energies that are in play. So what's going to happen is I'm just going to shuffle the cards here. So there's no pre-planned piles. I'm going to set out 3 sets of 3 runes, and you're going to choose one of 3. So before you even think about choosing which set, I just want you to slow down for a moment. Take a breath in through the nose and out through the nose a few times. And I'll also add some timestamps into this reading, the video, so you can choose and skip to your particular one. But if you do want to watch them all, there's probably a little bit of a message in each one for you. But definitely pay attention to the one that you've chosen. So just one more time, nice big breath in through the nose and out through the nose, slowing down the breath, helping you to focus, calm that monkey mind, and just tap into that higher part of your psyche or higher part of yourself. Now I've got 3 little statues here, so I'm going to put them on each pile. So we have a wizard here, we have a little rabbit, and we have a little pixie. So you can choose either number 1, 2, or 3, or maybe just go with whatever figurine resonates with you today. So the wizard, the rabbit, or the pixie. So just take one more big moment, big breath in, and then release. Choose. We have the rabbit, pixie, or the wizard. Cool. So with your chosen pile, I'm going to start with the rabbit. So these can wait. And then I'm just going to draw the archetype randomly. Cool. So if you chose pile number 1, the rabbit, these are your runes. So we have Othila, Manas, and Dagas. So Othila represents a space or something can happen within. It creates, it's the physical space as well as the order within that space and why that space was created. And Manas is all about humanness. So it's about consciousness. It's about every facet of the human existence. It's definitely linked to community, and this common trait that all humans share is really important. And Dagas is kind of seeing the light of day or hope, or this idea of kind of looking past the current situation. So at the moment, maybe there's a little bit of disorder in your environment. So that could be within a household. Yes, it can be in a partnership, but it's more so in a larger sense at the moment. So if there is discord in a partnership, for example, maybe looking at the environment that partnership is in. This can also link to your body, because especially with Othila link with Manas, maybe something is telling you to have a look at the order of what your body is doing, and maybe like a direct link to your physical body, because everything is filtered through the physical. So if we're having doubts about certain things or not feeling the best, we can really blame that on external circumstances, where a lot of the time it can be what's happening with your physical body, and also mind, emotions can show up in physical traits as well. So yeah, I guess what it's showing is to look at the order within what's happening at the moment, whether that's the order of your body at the moment, what you're putting in, what energy is going out, what is happening in the environment, and especially with other people involved, and really putting in a plan, because Manas is also linked to the intellect and mental analysis and things like that, and it's really seeing like the true picture, especially with Dagas and Manas both here. Something is telling you to get a new perspective on things and to really shed some light on the bigger picture and what is going on at the moment. But it's good. There's a good sign in it. So like with Dagas at the end here for the final, it's saying that there's hope, that the day's coming, So Dargaz means day, or daylight. So it's saying that the daylight is coming. So yeah, if you're in a difficult situation at the moment, it's just telling you to restructure, look at the order of things, and to just find that light in the end of the tunnel in a way that kind of motivates you to make those ordered changes. Because just checking in with your environment at the moment and what's happening. So cool. All right, this one seems to popped up. Student. Cool. So this is the archetype that will help you move forward at the moment. So the light attributes of the student are humility and devotion to knowledge, openness to lifelong learning. Something that you need to be aware of is maybe arrogance in the pursuit of destructive knowledge, unwillingness to translate knowledge into action. So yeah, maybe that key part of the shadow is maybe you do have the knowledge of what's going on at the moment in order to make the change, but it could be a big change. No one wants to reorder in a big way if it's going to be a nuisance, and we kind of leave it to last minute until things get really bad. So yeah, not sure how that would be playing out for you, but so we have Othula, Manars, and Dargaz, something to do with your environment and whoever's involved, and then we have the student kind of playing out in what will help you move forward a little bit. So that was the rabbit, pile number 1. I hope that resonated. Pile number 2. So pile number 2, we have the Pixie, and I'll go through. So Hagalaz, Gabo, and Laguz we have for the 3 cards here. So Hagalaz is asking for a big restructure with Gabo, which represents how things are exchanged. So how things move in and out and how things change their form. So, exchange is, a way of building bonds. It's a way of expressing something to someone that you want to help, that you want to develop a friendship, that you want to, develop a relationship. So Hagalaz is saying that leading up to this point, there has been maybe a restructure, but maybe it's been a bit of a rough restructure, and something has happened that has kind of knocked you off the horse a little bit, or knocked you off your course, or there's been a bit of a reset button going on. So kind of maybe a little bit of bad luck has been happening, which appears to be bad luck. But Gabo was showing that it's good luck for you. It's changing the way that you kind of interact with others and exchange, and maybe a check-in of what's going in, the ingoings and outgoings. So that could be your literal money ingoings and outgoings, but it could also be your energy levels, right? Are you giving more to relationships or your job or something and not getting back as much? And then Laguz is basically saying here that there's growth involved. Slow growth in the way that you are looking at something that you have to overcome, and there's this body of water over the exchange. How can I put this into better words? So it's funny, I get little visuals in my mind and I try to explain kind of what's happening at the moment. So I guess if you need to make it over a large obstacle or a large body of water, or think of the boat keeper, in Greek mythology, that takes you down into the underworld. So what are you exchanging in order to get where you need to go? So are you paying the boat keeper? Are you building a boat? Are you learning how to swim? So what do you need to learn and focus on in order to overcome where you're going and get to the destination that you need to be? And in doing that, what kind of growth do you think, or do you hope that you'll undergo in order to be a different person when you do make it to the other side? Because yes, we want to get to the destination on the other side, but there's a lot of different ways that we can do it. So what is a way that one works to your strengths, that may perhaps challenge you, but will also leave you in a better position, regardless of if you make it to the other side, if that makes sense. So it's asking to look at your inherent structure. So Hagalaz is really like the core seed and inherent structure. So I guess it's asking you to look at, and especially Laguz is all about the subconscious and the unconscious, and really delving into almost like our primal nature, in the way that yeah, I guess how you would look at your astrology chart or your human design, or looking at, yeah, you know, what were you interested in when you were a kid? I know it seems like I'm going off track, but there's something in that for you here to really look back at your childhood and look back at the things that used to light you up and things that maybe you just vibe with really well. And think of water, because this is linked to water as well. You know, think of what is the path of least resistance, and not path of least resistance and taking the easy route, but what is something that you know that you could make the whole journey? Because sometimes the easy path we don't want to stay on very long because we get bored. It might not be something that really resonates with us. Whereas like the path that we can see doing long term, but isn't necessarily the easiest. So I guess it's finding the balance between the two, and yeah, finding a way that you can sustain, and that's an efficient way of doing things. I hope that's made sense. So I'm just going to go for the bottom half of this pile, see what comes out, give it a few shuffles, and then I'll just pull one. And this is the archetype that's yeah, playing out at the moment, all you need to focus on. The mediator. It's funny that we were talking about, you know, what can you offer in a way of getting across the ocean or getting across the path. So the light attributes of the mediator is gift for negotiating fairness and strategy in personal and professional life, respect for both sides of an argument. So that's really relevant here to Gabo, because it's all about the exchange and what's happening and the bond that creates. But it could be that maybe there's a misunderstanding or miscommunication there. So the shadow attribute of the mediator could be negotiating with an ulterior motive or hidden agenda, either personally or professional. So yeah, maybe it's a little check-in as well, is you know, making sure the contracts are tight in what you're doing, in the way that there's a clear understanding of what you want to get out of this. And again, that comes back to what I was talking about before in, you know, kind of planning, but also understanding why you're doing this thing, like why you want to get to the other side, what you want to get out of this whole journey, as well as the destination. And then, yeah, kind of negotiating your way around that in order to, yeah, fully, yeah, find the best way to, yeah, of the journey. So clear communication, clear expectations, clear boundaries, yeah, and something probably not the way that you usually do it, because Hagalaz is asking for change. So yeah, look at doing it a way that maybe is uncomfortable for you. Cool. I hope that resonated. That was the Pixie. And I will move on to the next one now. So let me know. I'd love to hear how it's resonating for you so far. And the third one, we have the Wizard. So this is lot number 3. So set number 3, the Wizard. If you chose the Wizard, the Wizard. Cool. All right. So we have Berkano, Sowilu, and Kanaz. So with these 3 mixed together, there's a transition that's happening along the path that's to do with your creativity and also where you're directing that fire and for what purpose. So Berkano is saying that what you're doing is like quite fertile, right? So there was this acknowledgement that there's fertile ground here, that there's a really good opportunity here, but it's going to take time to evolve and change. So it wasn't a clear, maybe you've been undertaking something that you had a gut feeling about, or that, yeah, you couldn't really rationalize why you decided to do it. And maybe it's taking longer than you expected it to. And maybe you're starting to question whether or not it was the right thing, because maybe it's shifted, maybe you shifted and changed. And this is inevitable, you know. I feel like a lot of this, especially the last reading, was quite about not just the destination, but what you want to learn and grow from in the journey, and who you want to be at the end of it. So whatever this is happening, it's so you can fine-tune your craft. So something is happening at the moment, an opportunity that you've kind of undertaken, or a path that you've undertaken that maybe is taking a little longer than you expected, because it's a windy road. But with Suilu right in the center there, it's making sure that you're keeping the motion going, and that you're keeping, because there's a lot of fire here. Soilu represents the sun, and Kanaz is like a lantern or a torch or like a directed fire. And then Berkano is kind of like the earth and the earth goddess. So yeah, there's a real importance here to keep your fire burning and to keep the wheels moving at a steady pace. And yeah, I think because Berkano is a slow transition, there's nothing in here about rushing. So it's about taking it slow, realizing that things are going to change along the way and your direction is going to change along the way, but to keep on rechecking in with that flame and then maybe seeing where that flame wants to focus on, because it's not a linear path. I mean, especially with craft and art, and so when I say craft, that could be anything creative. And when I say creative, it's like taking new definitions and then defining the definition. Thinking crafty, right? So think of Loki. So Loki is the god of mischief in Norse mythology, right? Obviously linked to the runes and definitely linked to the rune canars. So there could be a little bit of discord or a little bit of destruction before the creation. In fact, a lot of the time, Loki has to destroy things in order for them to get something better at the end of it, because there's a situation that happens because Loki did something bad, did something mischievous, caused discord and chaos, but then out of that chaos, they end up a lot better. There's a new order created out of that chaos. So I don't think there has to be a lot of chaos or anything. It's not like Hagalaz, it's different. But it's asking you to bring in the chaos in some way, if that makes sense. So it's saying that, if it has been going a little bit slow and you need a little bit of extra fire, what can you burn? Because in order to create fire or keep fire burning, you need to offer it a material, right? You need to sacrifice a material. I know the word sacrifice sounds bad, but like it could be something that you don't need anymore, right? It could be some wood that has been sitting around and taking up room that you could throw in the fire in order to keep the fire burning and to focus it. And it's asking you to really focus in the fire a little bit more. So I know it sounds like contradictory, but it's saying to bring in a little bit of chaos, to bring in a little bit of destruction, to bring in a little bit of like thinking outside the box to what you've been doing so far. But that will create a new passion, a new vision of where it's going, and a new fire and creativity for that. So yeah, it's asking to sidestep a little bit off the path. That's probably what I would say. So it's asking you to kind of acknowledge the change and the evolution that's happened along the way, to sidestep off the path a little bit in order to maybe go looking for some new firewood, and to think a little bit differently than you currently have been. But then you can funnel that fuel, funnel that destruction, if you want to call it that, into something new, and to really hone your craft in that. Very interesting reading, actually, that one. So I hope that's resonated, made a bit of sense. And I'm just going to pull your final piece of it, which is the archetype card that will give you a little bit more clarity into kind of what archetype will help you embody the energy of that reading. Let's see what we got. The Advocate inspires you to put compassion into action. Okay. So shadow attribute of that would be embracing negative causes or committing to causes for personal gain. So the Advocate, obviously everyone in order to succeed needs an advocate for their project. So something becomes real when you get your first advocate. So there's actually a really good TED talk on how to create a movement. And they talk about, sometimes in a movement, it's the first follower or the first advocate that really gets things moving. And they show like there's this festival that they're at, and there's this guy just doing this weird dance in the festival by himself. And then everyone's kind of like watching and making fun of them. But then one person goes over and just like, this looks like fun, and starts dancing with them. And then this whole movement happens. Before you know it, pretty much the entire festival has just started copying this weird dance that this guy is doing. So yes, that guy started the movement, but the first advocate that had the bravery to step out and say, this is a good idea, or, I'm going to follow this movement. And, we all have to be kind of followers and leaders at different times. You can't just say that you're a leader and nothing else. It's important to follow, because otherwise, movements don't get going. So I don't know how that's playing out for you at the moment, whether you need an advocate to get things moving in order where you need them to go. That could be the missing piece. Or maybe you haven't really advocated for something that you're passionate about. You know, are you creating something that you haven't even been the advocate for? You know, we're our biggest critics. So maybe that's a key part for you. Or maybe there's something that you're doing that you've been working with someone else's thing, and maybe you need to step up and really advocate for that. And that could be sharing it with other people. That could just be embodying it more and realizing and looking back again why you started doing this thing. So yeah, the advocate is kind of there for you at the moment to help you with that. So that was the 3 readings. So we had this pile for the rabbit, we had this pile for the pixie, and this pile for the wizard. I hope it has helped and resonated. So if it has, please drop a comment. I would love to hear from you. So please please subscribe if you enjoy what I'm creating. As time goes on, there will be more and more, and I would love to hear from you and how it's helping, and yeah, just your thoughts on it. So if you are interested in seeing more of what I do, so you can find me at runeyoga.org or thehouseofmages.com. You can find me via my socials through all of those, and I will see you next time. Make yoga magic again.